What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room. And this is where we at now. So, yeah, recently here, GloRilla, the rapper GloRilla has been arrested for drug charges. Saying technically what's going down here. Her house got broken into, as we all know now. And it's crazy out here how you could be arrested for your house getting broken into. But this is the craziness that's going on here. Definitely, with our law enforcement. Listen, look, um, I get it, because it is crazy. You know, it marijuana may not be technically legal and things like that in certain places and stuff, but at the same time, though, too, when your house get broken into and you call the law enforcement for that actual crime, you expect them to honor said crime. I mean,
So what the French toast is there to think
I would
about?
think. But listen, look, man, let's dive off into this. Quarters, nickels, and dimes, people.
Atlanta rapper GloRilla arrested this week after deputies say three people tried to burglarize her Forsyth County home. The sheriff's office says that the switch up happened because while they were responding to that burglary call, deputies allegedly found marijuana in her house. GloRilla, whose real name is Gloria Woods, was released on a more than $22,000 bond today. Well, tonight, her attorney is calling the arrest absolutely unbelievable. And according to the sheriff's office, the burglary took place on Saturday. Woods was not home at the time. Deputies say that someone inside the home shot at the intruders but ran away, but they were never found. So while they were on the scene, the deputies say they smelled a narcotic. Lanier Regional Drug Task Force got a warrant then and searched that home and allegedly found some marijuana in the bedroom closet, but they did not find any narcotics. Well, the Forsyth County Sheriff released a statement saying in part that the homeowner is a victim of a serious crime, and we are committed to bringing the suspects to justice. At the same time, we must continue to uphold and enforce the law in all aspects of this case. Now, GloRilla's attorney declined a request for an interview, but sent us a statement saying in part, the arrest of Gloria Woods is a disturbing window into how warped law enforcement priorities have become. They've added that Mrs. Woods is a victim, not a suspect.
Now, I definitely agree with that, you know what I'm saying? Because listen, look, man, the thing of this is, when you call law enforcement to your house for a serious crime, and yeah, a little weed laying around, stuff like that, it's crazy to me. But at the same time, though, too, which is, it's sad to say this, but I have to say this because the truth has to be said. If that substance particularly was illegal, and that it was illegal to be in the set possession and things like that, though, should the law enforcement still have to uphold that particular law? Or, of course, they still have the right to uphold that particular law, but should they? Okay, so we're going to keep going because these are the questions that need to be asked here. Now we're talking about, certain places, a little marijuana is legal, certain places still not, you know what I'm saying? And this is the part of our country that we're having the issues with. It's certain things that are legal here, certain things that are not. Like, you can go to Las Vegas and go to a brothel, but you can't go to New York and do the same thing. Like, I mean,
French toast is there to think about?
our country is a whole, screwed up situation of, you could do this over here, but you can't do that over there. And it's amazing to me how we're not on one accord in this country. And this is proof of the fact of GloRilla's situation, of how much in this country that we're not on one accord for for a lot of shit. That's the reason why we're looked at, basically sideways amongst the rest of the world. So we're going to keep going here. Let's check this out.
Show will go on. Rapper GloRilla will host a concert in Tennessee tomorrow after being arrested in Forsyth County. Atlanta News First anchor Joe Gorcho is here with us in studio. So, Joe, GloRilla is finally addressing her arrest.
And Carly, she did so with a post on X calling it crazy. And according to the FedEx Forum officials in Memphis, Tennessee, GloRilla's concert will still go on as scheduled. It's happening only a few days after her arrest right back here in Georgia. GloRilla's first post on X following her arrest started with the word crazy. GloRilla, whose real name is Gloria Woods, says she was performing at the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis when people broke into her home. According to Forsyth deputies, 3 people were allegedly stealing things from her home and have been shot at by someone inside before law enforcement arrived.
So, okay, she wasn't even at home. She wasn't even in the same state.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
Now, of course, she had family there, stuff like that. And at the same time, though, too, I'm also confused at the reason why, family may have had certain things with them. But at the same time, though, too, I'll guarantee she probably knew her family smoked a few trees. GloRilla probably smoked a few trees herself. But in today's society, we're talking about trees. But at the same time, though, too, I still have to bring this up that we are also living in a hypocritical situation, a hypocritical society where you could go to Las Vegas and grow pot and stuff like that, but you can't do that in Florida. You can't do that in North Carolina, or you can in certain places you can't do that and stuff like that. We're living in a situation in America that's very hypocritical. You can do this over here, but you can't do this over here. And that's part of the problem of what I think the issue is with us as Americans as a whole. Like, we're too hypocritical. We could do this over here, but we can't do this here. And the only way I thought a situation was going to move forward is if we move on one accord. But let's keep going. Maybe I'm wrong.
The suspects ran away. While investigating, deputies say they found a significant amount of marijuana. Woods was not home at the time, but her attorneys say her family had been staying there, going on to say the home invaders grabbed high-value jewelry. The rapper turned herself in on Tuesday to face a felony marijuana possession charge and possession of a Schedule I controlled substance. She was released on bond the same day.
That's awful.
GloRilla fans ready for Friday's concert were stunned.
I was hoping the show would still go on. Because they really up for it. They ready to come.
Her concert is a go as Glo's attorneys push back against the charges, calling her arrest a disturbing window into how warped law enforcement priorities have become, going on to say Miss Woods is a victim, not a suspect. GloRilla on X mentioning how instead of deputies focusing on finding the suspects, they focus on some cannabis.
Listen, I can't deny that. That can't be denied, but at the same time, though, too, listen, look, like I just said, we live in a hypocritical country where you can do one thing on one side of the country and on the other side of the country it's totally forbidden. And, this is the problem, the reason why we're being laughed at amongst the rest of the world. And it's just the truth. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, the laws are the laws, and this is what it is. This is the reason why a lot of people have issues with what's going on with the immigration, all types of things like that. It just is what it is. But I'm saying, though, the laws are the laws. And, they are in place. But to keep marijuana at a Schedule I, substance, and, Schedule I substance that's up there with, the opium and, a lot of other different things, stuff like that. And but on the other side of the United States, it's legal to grow it, and we got shops and stuff like that where they can sell it and things. It's the hypocritical situation that we're living in here is what's keeping everybody moving the way that they're moving, and also keeping the dollars moving the way they're moving, keeping the courts filled with dollars, and also the other people filled with dollars too. This is what's going on here. American citizens are being pulled, you know what I'm saying, this and that way, for the dollars. You go out west, you can, grow what you want, sell whatever. You go out east, you can't do certain things, stuff like that. It's, man, okay. See, and we're a country divided, and that's part of the problem. So, all right, we're going to keep it moving here. And yeah, we got a little bit farther to go. And I'm also going to join it. I'm also going to add in the Breakfast Club's perspective on this. Let's do this now. Quarters, nickels, and dimes, people.
It is a big night in the Bluff City. About an hour from now, thousands of GloRilla fans will be lining up at FedEx Forum for the inaugural Glo Bash.
Yes, she's performing in front of her hometown fans, and it comes on the heels of what the Memphis rapper's attorney has called a wrongful arrest in Georgia on drug charges. WREG's Raven Copeland joins us live now from FedEx Forum. And Raven, tell us what we need to know before heading downtown tonight.
Yeah, Greg and Stephanie, before fans get to the Glo Bash, they should know that there is a clear bag policy in place. That means the clear bag that you bring in, it must meet certain size requirements. You can bring a wallet too, but it must be a certain size. Now, WREG spoke to fans ahead of the show tonight about GloRilla's concert and her recent arrest in Georgia.
Yeah, Glo! Memphis native and rapper GloRilla has become a household name in not only her hometown, but other parts of the country. WREG spoke to fans who traveled to see her headline her inaugural Glo Bash at the FedEx Forum.
I'm just really expecting to have a whole lot of fun. I'm not from here. I'm ready to turn up in Memphis and have a good time.
The Glo Bash is expected to be like the birthday bashes that were headlined by Yo Gotti, who signed GloRilla to his CMG record label in 2022. She will also have special guests perform, some of which have already been announced. As fans prepare for Friday night's concert, they're also reacting to GloRilla's recent arrest in Georgia for drug charges. Her attorney, Marissa Goldberg, tells WREG that it was a wrongful arrest. Forsyth County Sheriff's deputies initially responded to a burglary at the rapper's home while her family was there and GloRilla was out of town. During the investigation, deputies executed a search warrant after they say they smelled illegal drugs. The sheriff's office says.
So, yeah, smelling illegal drugs, things like that. And this is where we at here. So we're going to move on and we're going to go to what the Breakfast Club had to say. So, hold on here, before I dive off into the Breakfast Club. Of course, they like the copyright shit. So, yeah, I'm going to put up the big screen, and we're just going to hear the audio and things like that. And this is where we at, man. I really think that this is crazy that, GloRilla has to deal with this situation, considering the type of country that we're living in, where you could go, like I said, you could go to a certain part of the country and, marijuana is, legal technically. And then on the other part of the country, it's a huge problem. And that's our issue. That's the reason why we don't have the respect around the world. And everybody not wanting to accept this. Everybody's not wanting to accept these facts. This is part of the reason why we don't have respect around the world, is because we're so fucking hypocritical.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
One part of the country could do something, the other part of the country can't. It's a hypocritical situation. That's the reason why we don't have the respect. I'm telling you now, for real though. Let's go here now.
So GloRilla was arrested in Georgia on felony drug charges and was booked Tuesday in Forsyth County, Georgia. I believe I'm saying that correct. The charges were possession of a scheduled controlled substance and possession of marijuana over 1 ounce. And under the Georgia law, these are felony charges. She posted a $22,000 bond, so she was released. And at the time when this story broke, the details of the arrest were not clear. So then GloRilla's attorney, Drew Finland, released a statement. So he sent the statement to us and he says, the arrest of Gloria Woods is a disturbing window into how warped law enforcement priorities have become. Ms. Woods was out of town when her residence became a target for a group of home invaders who most likely knew she wasn't there. What they didn't know was that she had family staying with her, and her family, they were traumatized by the violent interests of this group who grabbed high value jewelry before taking off once they realized she wasn't home, or the home wasn't vacant. When her family members did the right thing, they called the law enforcement, called police. Instead of investigating a violent home invasion and theft, of Miss Woods, they instead sought a search warrant when they spotted what they believed was a small amount of marijuana. Law enforcement then sought an arrest warrant for her, even though she hadn't been home for some time. No arrest warrants have been issued for the violent home invaders. Mrs. Woods is a victim, not a suspect. This is our tax dollars at work. Absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah. Now, before they get to diving deeper, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, though, the laws in that particular state, they are what they are. And, you know, I'm not saying that Glo's family, because she wasn't there. Let's make this clear. She wasn't there. And the statement said that she hadn't been there for some time. And I get that, though. She's traveling. She's trying to make money. She's trying to do certain things. And this is the problem here. Now, I don't know whether these officers, you know, whether an officer stayed there until somebody went and got a warrant or things like that. You know what I'm saying? There's no detail on that fact, because that's possible as well. But the thing of this is yes, if they found a small amount of marijuana, but the home invasion was what they was called for, we need to really evaluate this situation. And like I said, that we're living in a society in America that's truly hypocritical. And it's a huge problem, you know, and we cannot deny that it's a huge problem. This young lady right here, I'm sorry, just, you know, a small amount of marijuana, you know, anybody else would have been just disregarded for a small amount of that. It's not like she was up in there with, you know, a truckload of marijuana.
So what's the French toast is there to think about?
Well, not her. You know, her family members or whatever. It's not like they had a whole truckload of marijuana up in that house. That was, you know, I've seen police let people go for the same little small amount of stuff. This is crazy out here. This is crazy.
This makes no sense to me, because are you responsible for what's in your house? If you're not home, you had guests there, you had somebody break in. Mm-hmm. The people that broke in could have dropped that. I don't know. I'm just saying, are you just responsible because she's the homeowner? Like,
well, yeah, she was the homeowner, but the problem is this was a small amount of weed. This wasn't 10 pounds. This wasn't 20 pounds. It was an ounce, almost an ounce of weed, and she wasn't home. And let's get to the root of the thing. Somebody invaded her property, went in her crib, robbed her property, stole her jewelry, went there with, I'm sure, weapons. Her family was there, could have got killed, could have got hurt, and then you arrest the person that called the police.
Yeah, I don't understand the law. I guess I would like to know what legally makes her liable.
Well, I reached out to the PIO office down there for the county because I wanted to know the same thing, and they sent me a statement. And in the statement, they say that the reason why they were able to arrest her was because the weed that they found was in a closet in the master bedroom, and the master bedroom belongs to GloRilla. So that is why they went forward and issued the arrest warrant for her. Now, at the end of their statement, they do say this: they are the police down there say the homeowner is a victim of a serious crime, and we are committed to bringing the suspect to justice. This was a statement from the sheriff, but he says at the same time we must continue to uphold and enforce the law in all aspects of this case. Now, GloRilla spoke out after this as well too, and she tweeted. She said, "It's crazy. My house got invaded on Saturday. I was in Indianapolis performing for the WNBA All-Star game, and instead of focusing on finding the suspects, they focused on some cannabis. Number one, no, I wasn't busted. Number two, my house got robbed. Number three, I wasn't home. Long story short, my house gets invaded, and I'm the only one that gets arrested. So that's T."
You know, I want now at the same time though too, like I said though, these laws are complicated. Also too, you know, the devil's advocate is in the building here. Hold on. Hold on, man. Let's just keep this real. You know, at the same time though too, of course, in Georgia, stuff like that, of course, they're still illegal. And you know what I'm saying? They came there for one thing, but then though too, they found other things, because when you call police to your home, they're going to go through your home. You know, like let's say, they called the police for a burglary. So they're going to go through the home, see what all was taken, things like that, asking questions, you know what I'm saying, investigating. You know, when you get the police in your home, they're going to go through your shit. Like I said, to see what was taken, all types of stuff. They're asking questions, things like that. So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is at this point. we can't sit here and be like, at the same time though, too, whatever was found there, was, if it was illegal in that particular state or city or whatever, it's still illegal there. Now, I'm not saying that, GloRilla's, her family was wrong for calling the police and things like that, because it was a home invasion. And at the same time, though, too, I'm a little conspiracy theory out here. I wonder if this was a whole setup, though.
So what the French toast is there to think about?
But that's neither here nor there. And I'm also wondering if the police officers, the law enforcement, is actually, trying to find out who tried to break into this young lady's house. But, man, it's crazy out here. It's crazy.
Did they have probable cause to go in her closet?
Well, they probably went to see what was stolen, and when they went to see what's stolen, found the cannabis. But GloRilla is really sad. Those people robbed her house, stole her jewelry, and left that weed there. That's messed up.
Yeah, and now she is in jail.
That's right.
She was in jail
because that's my story. You robbed me, and you left that jewelry, and you left that jewelry. I mean, you left that weed there.
Well, the police,
you left that weed there.
The police
and they
said,
be talking about Baltimore. Woo.
Yeah, y'all both do got some strong accents, but they way different.
Yeah, it's still a little different.
But very
we
strong.
say music, they say murder.
Yeah. Well, the police said in a statement that I received that while they were searching the unit to see like what was taken and just figure out the crime scene, they smelled a strong odor that was consistent with illegal narcotics. And as a result of that, the Linear Regional Drug Task Force was contacted and responded to the residents. And
well, it's also hot too now, so that could be smelling like underarms as well. So it could have just been a bunch of musty people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, either way, I do think it's crazy that, because I still, even after them saying that, things were in the master bedroom, I'm like, that still sounds crazy. And I did reach back out to Drew Finland, who was GloRilla's attorney, and ask him to, respond or just elaborate on how her side feels about the fact that they're pinning that because of where the location of the weed was found. I hadn't gotten any response back from him yet, but I did think that was insane.
Well,
all right, so this is where we at, though. You know what I'm saying? Man, this is crazy out here. Wow. And at the same time, though, too, we can't sit here and act like, like I said throughout this broadcast about the hypocritical situation that we're in here in America. You can go to one side of America and get marijuana and, also get prostitutes. But then, too, on another side of America, it's something else, and they won't allow this and this and that. And that's the hypocritical situation that we in, and the reason why we don't have the respect over here. But, I think this is wild, man, but I get it that the laws are in place in the specific place that GloRilla's living in. It is her house legally, and if we want to talk about the law and legals and all that type of stuff, legally she is responsible for what goes on in her house. Just like you're legally responsible for what goes on in your car when you're driving and things like that. You know what I'm saying? If you allow somebody in your vehicle and stuff like that, and they bring something into your vehicle, even unbeknownst to your knowledge, you're still legally bound for that shit. I'm sorry, but this is just the truth out here. This is just the truth, people. That's the reason why you got to watch what you're doing, watch who you bring around you, things like that, watch what's going on. And I hate to say that, but this is the truth. But it is what it is, though. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say,
and that, my friends, is the bottom line.
That, my friends, is the bottom line.